Welcome back to the vault. On June 14th, 2015, Dee Dee Blanchard was found murdered brutally in her bed. Within 72 hours, her estranged family had already diagnosed the victim and established the motive. Today, we are investigating the critical window where supportive family pivoted to forensic experts. We are looking at why the Munchausen by proxy narrative wasn't a sudden discovery. It was the ultimate financial exit strategy. We are putting the 72-hour rebrand on trial. Let's contrast the digital footprint with the police record. In May 2014, Rod Blanchard is on Facebook calling Dee Dee an amazing mother who has always done what he couldn't do for Gypsy. Be there. But within 48 hours, there were more things wrong. This pivot creates the villain necessary for the family's redemption and their future return on investment. Who was the first to drop the term Munchausen? It wasn't a doctor or a lead detective. It was Bobby Pitre, Dee Dee's stepbrother/nephew. On June 16, he dropped the mysterious words when he went to the Springfield News Leader, and by June 17th, he was telling Detective Walker that Claudinia may have had Munchausen Syndrome. This is the inception point of the entire media myth. Digital logs showed Bobby was absent from every critical concern thread for years, yet he appears the moment there's a microphone. Bobby told the police he was so disgusted with the woman and could not believe what she was doing. But where are the police reports from 1999? You were 23, Bobby, the same age Gypsy was when she brutally murdered her mother. Where are the digital logs showing him confronting her? They don't exist. The post-mortem pivot allowed Bobby to reframe years of silent negligence as estrangement. He became a star witness for the prosecution of a dead woman. In August 2013, Rod is texting about switching boats, tattoos, and jobs. Light, casual, ongoing contact. But in report number 186, he tells police he hasn't seen them in approximately 10 years. Why create this wall of separation? Because a narrative of total alienation creates the legal distance necessary to avoid being asked why he never intervened. Look at the conflict here. In September 2014, Claudia is on Facebook saying, "Love and miss you all." But by June 17, 2015, she tells police Dee Dee burned her bridges with credit card. This is the most damning slide. Claude Sr. told police he knew Gypsy could walk and had told Dee Dee to stop the wheelchair act. If the entire clan knew, their interaction for 15 years is legally perilous. The MVP narrative shifts the blame entirely to Dee Dee's master manipulation, absolving the bystanders who knew the truth and stayed silent. To understand the pivot, we have to look at the money. In April 2013, the family was discussing house notes and impending lawsuits. But in Report 190, the narrative shifts to Dee Dee's $14,000 share and her alleged theft. The focus on old financial grudges in 2015 highlights a long-standing resentment that took center stage once Dee Dee was gone. They didn't just hate her for the abuse. They hated her for the resources they felt she stole from the family. Love and miss you all stands in direct contradiction to burned bridges. The pivot requires the family to claim they were financial victims to justify their lack of intervention. Post murder, the family frames the disability solely as a financial scam for child support and services. They strip the sickness of the reality they previously validated with love and prayers to focus on the fraud. They were participants in the charade until the moment the charade was no longer profitable. Even the most affectionate digital ties were revised. In May 2013, Christy is on the logs saying, "Love you, kiss Gyps for me," yet by June 16th, 2015, that warmth evaporates. She provides cold, procedural timeline data to the police, ensuring her involvement is framed as outside observation rather than intimate participation. The revision of the intimacy was a necessary step in the 72-hour rebrand. Here is the smoking gun. Before trial has even occurred, family associates in the support group are explicitly discussing the return on investment. They were debating who holds the book rights and identifying Rod as the primary financial beneficiary of the tragedy. They weren't processing a murder, they were auditing a new asset. But the coordination didn't just stop with the parents. We have a letter Gypsy sent to her cousin, Tiffany Towson, Claudia's daughter. In it, Gypsy admits the strategy in her own handwriting. She states that Mike, Christy, and herself have been discussing exactly how to make money from her story. This isn't a victim processing trauma. This is a team coordinating a payout. They weren't just waiting for her release, they were preparing for the market for her truth. A pivot is formalized here. By June 23rd, 2015, a private support group is created. It isn't just for support, it's a controlled environment to manage the narrative. They positioned themselves as the gatekeepers of Gypsy's story, effectively securing the intellectual property of the case. Grieving family takes months to process. A strategic family takes 72 hours. From Amazing Mom in May 2014 to the Munchausen diagnosis on June 17th to book right discussions immediately after, the timeline proves this was a calculated pivot for profit. Our verdict is final. The family supported the sick child online for years because, well, it was comfortable. They claimed fraud to the police the moment it became profitable. They did not save Gypsy from abuse they claimed to know about for 15 years. They waited until she saved herself and then claimed the copyright on her tragedy. I think her dad might be able to profit from this. This case is not about silenced truth. It is about a narrative that was learned, refined, and strategically deployed. I'm Fancy Maselli. Tomorrow we take a deeper look at the Snow Gypsy account and the supplemental reports. And next week we look at the science they tried to bury to protect the abuse brand, the 1Q21.1 code. The mother was the victim. The daughter was the fraud. The truth is in the deletion. Look at the evidence you were never shown. 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow when we open up the vault.